I lost my fiance 4 years ago in a car accident. He and I were both 25 at the time and had been together since we were 19. If soulmates are real, he was mine. He was stubborn. He preferred a way earlier bedtime than I did and was a major homebody, and I loved all of it. He would stay up with me until he was sure I fell asleep, and weekly movie theater outings, planned by him, became a thing like a month into our meeting. I am a fundamentally different person, both because I met him and because of my grief. I was shown what real love and effort and care feels like. I also don't talk about him. I go to therapy once a week. Otherwise, it's silence on that topic from me. He lives on in me in the ways I try to emulate him. I practice the patience he had that I always struggled to find. I go after career-related opportunities that scare me because I know he would encourage me to. Sometimes I let myself stay in bed because I know he'd be gentle with me and let me do that too. But I don't talk about him, and I probably never will. I'll make the occasional, "Oh, X would have loved this," comment when I'm with friends who know him well. With strangers, nothing. My friends and family respect that as well. I'm engaged again. My fiancé obviously knows I was engaged before. I pretty much told her, my last partner passed away and I won't talk about it. Actually, I don't use social media in really any capacity anymore, but she happened to stumble upon an old Instagram profile of mine recently and saw him heavily featured. This led to her accusing me of purposefully keeping this from her. I don't really see why his gender matters, and I told her so. She said I've broken her trust. Times like these are when I long for the life I was living before, but grief screwed up my brain, so I'm not sure if I'm being insensitive. Edit. She knows I am bisexual. The only thing she didn't know was that my fiancé was a man. Relevant comments. Somebody said you kept the fact he was a man a secret because you knew it would be an issue. You're the a-hole. Original poster replied, I live in a very liberal area and I've never heard my fiancé express any bigoted views. I wouldn't be in this relationship if I had. I wrongly assumed that it was a complete non-issue. Edit. She knows I'm bisexual and has known for our entire relationship. Somebody said, even worse. So if your partner would not be okay with you being bisexual, then you'd qualify her as bigoted? You're full of yourself. Get help, and if you care about her, get away and don't hurt her more. Original poster replied, she is okay with me being bisexual. The only thing she wasn't aware of was that my late fiancé was a man. But to answer your question, yes. I do think not dating someone simply on the grounds of their orientation is bigoted. But it does usually save me trouble when dating because it helps weed people out. The STD argument lets me know they're ignorant, and the now I have to worry about girls and guys shows insecurity or some kind of inherent lack of trust. Someone said, oof, some of these comments are rough. Here's my perspective as a widow. You need to talk to your therapist about this. Not Reddit. Most people have no idea what it's like to lose so much and just how much that loss shapes you. But also, it's concerning to me that he sounds like such a big part of your internal life, but you've never even mentioned him with your current partner. Before you get married, you need to dig into why you've compartmentalized this to such an intense degree. Why are you hiding him? What are you afraid of? If I'm being generous, I think seeing that your late fiancé was a man shocked your fiancé into realizing that she knows absolutely nothing about this major part of you. Original poster replied, I really appreciate your comment. Thank you. It's very thoughtful. I don't think there's anything I'm necessarily scared of, but I am very protective of his memory. Sharing him with someone he didn't choose to share his story with kind of freaks me out in a way. I don't know. I'm aware that's irrational. Then there's the risk that the new partner would get tired of hearing about him or otherwise insecure about it. And that makes me really uncomfortable to think about too. So I guess I just keep him safe in me and my mind, and it protects me too. On if the fiancé was having an issue with the previous partner's gender, original poster replied, because the gender issue is all she has fixated on, at least during our conversation. Also, it makes me uncomfortable to be with someone who is okay with my bisexuality in theory but not in practice. If the thought of me having intimacy or being romantic with a man in the past makes the other person insecure, I'm not really down for that. I come out to any potential romantic partners early on, so I thought I had already done my due diligence in that regard. I probably should have been more open. But I didn't anticipate that I needed to have a second coming out, where I admit that me saying I'm bisexual actually means I'm bisexual. Like, not just in the I like kissing dudes in bars kind of way, but in the romantic morning intimacy 6 years into a relationship way. 2 days later, yesterday, I had an emergency therapy session because I was spiraling and didn't feel prepared to tackle the upcoming conversation with my fiancé without one. It was hard but necessary as I was finally honest about just how much I was compartmentalizing my grief. It laid the foundation for where I'd like to go moving forward. Now I have to put in the legwork. The few hours between my therapy appointment and my fiancé getting off work was evidence of just how avoidant I've become. It was a conversation we needed, but definitely not one I wanted. When we finally sat down to talk, I asked her to start us off by telling me exactly what was bothering her about the whole situation. She said because I had come out to her in a casual way, the way I come out to anyone by mentioning it early on when it seems natural to bring up, she didn't realize how serious I was, and this made her look at me differently. She apologized for that and suggested that if I told her more about him now, it might be an easier pill for her to swallow. I tried, but there was this knot in my stomach the entire time I tried to pick a place to start. And maybe this is me being cruel, not giving her the benefit of the doubt, but it just didn't feel right. She hadn't come and said, I was shocked because I realized how little I know about this time in your life. Would you be open to talking about it now? Instead, it felt like, tell me what you saw in him so I can attempt to rationalize your orientation. I told her I needed some time, so she went to stay elsewhere for the weekend. A longtime good friend of mine came over this morning. I think the combination of anonymously talking more openly about my partner here, as well as being more open with my therapist, helped remind me of how joyous and cathartic it could be. I don't know the exact catalyst, but I do know I spilled my guts. We talked for hours about things I haven't told anyone in years. I expressed how nervous I was about possibly living alone again, and I was told that I didn't ever have to worry about that an SOS text message would be all it took for me to have company if I needed it. Same goes for all my friends and family. I'm so lucky I have an incredible support system. 5 minutes into that hour-long conversation, I already knew. The trust, security, and love I felt made room for this newfound openness. The absence of any one of those marks a relationship DOA and is why I felt physically ill trying to share his memory with her. I truly wish her the best. I think going our separate ways will be good for both of us. We weren't getting what we needed from each other. She's supposed to be coming back tomorrow, so we'll have the talk then. I have lots of work to do, but for tonight, I get to be reminded of what safety feels like. Edit. Please see this comment where I elaborate on the conversation she and I had. There seems to be this misunderstanding where I blame her for everything because she didn't perfectly respond to the situation. Two things can be true. I wasn't open. I am largely accountable for the problems in this relationship, and I never should have entered it if I wasn't ready. She also said ignorant things. I'm not angry about it, and it's certainly not the sole reason we're breaking up. It's just another reason on the pile of reasons why this isn't sustainable. I am still not feeling comfortable enough to share with her, different from me, blaming her for everything, or even the majority. It was just the final nail in the coffin between maybe we can make this work with a lot of effort and this needs to end now. Relevant comments. Comment. Somebody said you're human and you're grieving. You made mistakes, you're admitting to them, you're working through stuff. Just wanted to encourage you not to get too caught up in everyone here piling on. I get your concerns about possible biphobia too. None of us were there in that conversation, and our opinions don't matter much anyway because we're not in your relationship. Go in peace. Best wishes for your continued healing and personal growth. Original poster replied, "Thank you sincerely." It can be easy to get so focused on what people are getting wrong that I get stuck doing doom scrolling. Haha. The conversation I had with her left me sick to my stomach and uncomfortable. I'm definitely not excusing the choices I made. This could have been rectified much earlier had I been open. But it seems like everyone here is just brushing off my experience of the discussion we had, one where I specifically opened the floor to explain why she freaked out so much about his gender. Her answers didn't strike me as something that would lead to either of us being happy long term. Yeah, my nose has been in my phone long enough. Time to turn it off for the night and enjoy the real world. I appreciate you and your understanding. A commenter, you said you were extremely nervous before this conversation. Is it possible that you had predetermined that it would go badly and made a self-fulfilling prophecy out of your anxieties? Were your uncomfortable feelings caused by something concretely biphobic that she actually said, or by your own nerves, which caused you to interpret anything she said in the worst possible light? Did you communicate this discomfort to her? Did you ask her how she was feeling? Is it possible your feelings could be the result of a clash between your avoidant nature and being forced to confront the problem? And her not having the perfect answers validated your feelings and desire to run again? Grief sucks and it can warp our perspective of everyone else in our lives, including ourselves. I hope you have a good therapist and are committed to honesty and working on yourself. Original poster replied, "Is it possible that you had predetermined that it would go badly and made a self-fulfilling prophecy out of your anxieties?" No, I was nervous, but I went in with an open mind. I knew I likely needed to end the relationship or at least pump the brakes, but that doesn't mean I went in guns blazing against her. I wasn't showing up in the way I needed to. We hadn't started planning the wedding yet, and I knew now that that would likely be much farther down the line than originally anticipated if things went well during our talk. I had a lot I needed to work through, and I didn't know if she would want to stay for that. Were your uncomfortable feelings caused by something concretely biphobic that she actually said, or by your own nerves, which caused you to interpret anything she said in the worst possible light? She said she didn't realize how serious I was about being bisexual when I had already come out to her. She also made her look at me differently and apologized for that. To me, there's only one interpretation of that. I came out to her early on, but she didn't take my sensuality as fact until she saw me with a man, and now she looks at me differently. And despite just devoting a paragraph to that conversation, it was much longer than that in person. I asked her to elaborate, and she doubled down on what she said. She was apologizing to me for seeing me differently, and asking me to share memories of my late fiancé to make this an easier pill to swallow. The pill to swallow wasn't my engagement, and it wasn't her lack of knowledge about it. The pill to swallow was, very specifically, the fact that she now saw me differently because I was in a serious, long-term relationship with a man. Did you communicate this discomfort to her? Did you ask her how she was feeling? Yes and yes. Like I said, long conversation where I opened the floor to her first and then asked clarifying questions. Is it possible your feelings could be the result of a clash between your avoidant nature and being forced to confront the problem? And her not having the perfect answers validated your feelings and desire to run again? I didn't need perfect answers. I've been imperfect all throughout this relationship. We're here because I've been avoidant and messy and human. I am at fault here big time for not being open from the start. And I extend grace to her for having to put up with that. I'm sorry I didn't have this conversation sooner and that I jumped into something I wasn't ready for. What I needed was any shred of evidence that her problems with all of this stemmed from my lack of openness, as opposed to him being a man suddenly forcing her to take my sensuality seriously. I didn't get that. And I'm not even really angry at her for that. I don't understand why people are acting like I'm being hostile towards her. We're just not compatible. That's another reason to add to the pile. I'm not going to go into our next conversation blaming her for everything. I'm going to reiterate how it made me feel and encourage her to take bisexuality seriously from the jump, though. But that's just one part of a much larger talk where I will take accountability and apologize for wasting her time when I couldn't give her all of me. New updates 8 days later. I wanted to thank everyone for this sudden influx of nice comments and messages. I woke up to quite a few notifications and saw that I now have 80 followers here. I'm probably not going to stick around on this account, so I'm not sure if those follows are warranted, but I appreciate all the kind words all the same. I ended my relationship a week ago, and honestly, I've been enjoying single life. I was so terrified of living alone again, and I'm sure the loneliness will kick my ass at some point. But man, it's kind of really nice. I think my last relationship was an excuse for me to continue hiding from and suppressing my emotions, myself. I feel freer now. I feel more open. It's hard and painful, but I also feel like I'm remembering parts of myself that I lost or spent 4 years shoving into a box. I went out Friday night. That's something I haven't done since before my life changed so drastically. I steered clear from alcohol for a long time because I was really terrified of the possibility of self-medicating with it. Now I trust myself with moderation. I went out, had a few drinks, and danced with friends. I used to feel intense guilt for being happy. It wasn't rational, and I've outgrown that. Now I just wish he was here. I miss running back from the dance floor to where he was talking to friends. I miss having someone waiting for me. I miss acting like it was such a hassle to leave early upon his request when really I was looking forward to being home with my best friend. And yes, I miss the intimacy. I haven't had good intimacy in so long it should be considered a national emergency. But yeah, single life is good so far. Thanks again for the compassion and understanding. Relevant comments. Someone asked, how did original poster's ex take the breakup? And what about his best friend who has been there for him? Original poster replied, I have purposely avoided speaking about the breakup conversation here. I'm not interested in sharing the details. She does have friends and family in the area. She'll be fine. My friend is amazing and very special to me. I'm immensely grateful for him and all the friends in my life I truly trust. I would be doing both of us a major disservice by pursuing him romantically so soon after a failed relationship, where one of the lessons I learned, among many, is that I'm not ready yet. The thought of getting into another relationship makes my head feel cluttered. That's the best way I can describe it. Thinking about sharing my life with someone else in that way right now makes my brain turn on a no-signal channel that's just playing TV static. Update. It's been 7 months. It feels like a lifetime ago. I was still in such a fog back then. I'm not sure if this update is even allowed since the issue has technically already been resolved. The question was, am I the a-hole for not telling her about my late partner's gender? And now that relationship is over. The conflict doesn't exist anymore. She and I haven't spoken, and I don't ever want to again. That entire relationship was a huge mistake from start to finish. I just wanted to drop in and say, I'm seeing someone. We've been officially dating for about a month. He knew me from before my partner passed, and I feel like I'm slowly making progress in finding that person again. I spent a long time trying to emulate my late partner as a way of honoring him. I respect and love him so much, present tense, and I wanted to encapsulate the way he was. My boyfriend likes to remind me that he wouldn't want me to be him. He would want me to be me. That's been so helpful, along with lots of therapy. Top comments. Does your current partner know about your late partner? Original poster replied, yes. My current partner has known me and knew my late partner for a long time. He's the friend I mentioned in my first update. He fully understands the journey I've been on because he's been right there with me for most of it. Our relationship was platonic but has now blossomed into something really beautiful and healing. Commenter 1. Wow, I'm not particularly woke, but some of these comments genuinely surprised me. Personally, it's much stranger to me that his ex never bothered to learn the gender of his former fiancé than it is that he never considered it important to bring up the gender to her. Weird. Anyway, I'm happy for you. Glad you're with someone who makes you happy and doesn't judge you for the gender of your previous partners. Wait, maybe I am woke. Oh no, that's a chilling thought.